Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge Studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Taylor Sharp, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. LSU back out on the practice field today. We're talking about it. Saints offensive line suffers a setback. Will Clapp going to miss a little bit of time. We'll talk about it. Glenn West go 24/7 in 30 minutes. We'll meet the freshmen as well. I took the time on LouisianaSports.net over the weekend to take LSU's schedule and rank it from most challenging to least challenging. We'll do a little bit of that in the second hour, and got a story up. It's basically a column on LouisianaSports.net as well today, talking about LSU's defense, specifically last year in the run defense and a little bit about pass rush. We'll get into that in the second hour before we get to Sharif Ishaq, who's been covering the black and gold as they start to look forward towards their second preseason game coming up in the Dome on Sunday. So lots and lots to do. Lock us in. We'll start the same way we start every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Let's get you our practice report from today. We were able to go out there for about an hour and watch LSU at the end of their practice today. We did not get the beginning portion of workout that generally is inside. We just saw the end of practice. Early on, not a lot for us to look at. Some special teams drills, well as some linemen going through some walkthroughs, quarterbacks doing very light work with light route tree. And then they finally ramped it up a little bit, went to 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. I know 11-on-11 is what most people want to hear about. It's what I want to watch. It's what I want to talk about. So we'll get into the 11-on-11 portion here. And before I give you some play-by-play, just an overarching theme, I thought the defense won the day in 11-on-11. I thought they did a really good job up front, and I really thought that the defensive backs did a really nice job in coverage to create some pass breakups. Let me get to first the running plays, and I will tell you that when they went out for 11-on-11, they started with the first offense against the second defense, and then they went with the second offense against the first defense. Now, some of those pieces are interchangeable, but that was the framework of what we were watching. When the first team offense went out against the second team defense, they started Patrick Payton had a tackle for loss in the backfield. He dropped Xavion Thomas, who was back there with Nussmeier, took a handoff. He was dropped in the backfield. Then there was a false start on Weston Davis. He was pulled from the drill at right tackle. He went and ran laps. And then you had on the second play that actually was run, Nussmeier was in a crowded pocket, and he stepped up and fired over the middle from about the 20-yard line into the end zone into, as I'm tracking the ball, a mass of humanity. A lot of offensive guys, a lot of defensive guys around the goalposts, and Xavion Thomas jumped up and made a catch over DJ Pickett for a nice touchdown. It was a high-risk throw, turned into a very high-reward throw, and the offense drew real first blood there in that section with the first offense against the second defense. And the second-team offense went out there. It was not a work of art. P.J. Woodland did get flagged for pass interference on Berrien Brown. That moved the ball down inside the 5-yard line. You had a first and goal run. Cheryl Perkins tackle for loss for a big play in the backfield on Caleb Jackson. There was hands to the face called, so they moved it down to the 1-yard line. They motioned Michael Van Buren out, did a direct snap to Juwan Johnson. He did not even get back to the line of scrimmage, but there was a penalty on the offense on that play that backed him up to the 6. Michael Van Buren then threw for Trey'Daz Green. It was incomplete with Deshaun Spears in coverage. And then you had another direct snap looking like it was going to go to Juwan Johnson in the backfield, but instead they snapped it to Caleb Jackson next to him, and hit Caleb Jackson in the face mask. Ball was on the ground, and it was picked up by the defense and run the other way, and Delane probably would have scored a touchdown on that play. So not a work of art there from the second-team offense. They never got across the line of scrimmage outside of a couple penalties. So not great there. First-team offense went back out there. Ahmad Bro stopped Caden Durham for a 2-yard gain. This was coming out of LSU's own end zone, going the length of the field, so like 95-yard drive you were looking at. Garrett Nussmeier fired to Nick Anderson, who made a diving catch moving forward for like a 4-yard gain. It was not a great throw by Nussmeier there. And then Nussmeier was flushed out of the pocket on third down, fired for Aaron Anderson on the sideline, and Ashton Stamps came up and broke it up for a nice play. Then the second-team offense went out there. They handed the ball to Juwan Johnson. Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks combined for a tackle for loss there. Michael Van Buren ran for 6 yards on a passing play. Then he threw the ball to Donovan Green for about 6 yards, and P.J. Woodland made the tackle on that play. West Weeks came up and made a great play at the line of scrimmage against Juwan Johnson on a running play as well. Michael Van Buren then ran a QB draw for about 3 yards. Then the second defense came in against the second offense, and Michael Van Buren threw for Trey Green. It was incomplete. That was a lot there, a lot of play-by-play. But here's something that stood out to me. I charted all the running plays here with everybody, first and second team. Here what the running plays sounded like. This was the first team offense. Patrick Payton, TFL, and Xavion Thomas. Then you go to the second team offense. Harold Perkins, TFL for -4 on Caleb Jackson. Then a first and goal run, direct snap to Juwan Johnson, no gain. Then a direct snap to Caleb Jackson, fumble. Here's the first team offense. Ahmad Bro stops Caden Durham for 2 yards. Second team offense, Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks, TFL on Juwan Johnson for a little bit of a loss. And then West Week at the line of scrimmage stuffs Juwan Johnson. That is 7 running plays. TFL, 0, fumble, 2 yards, TFL, stopped at the line of scrimmage. They only gained 2 yards at any point during 7 running plays. So not great from the first nor second team offensive line there, just not a lot of places to run. I will also say that in the course of that, you had a Stamps pass breakup. You had a Woodland solid tackle. You had another pass breakup by, let's see. You had one more pass breakup. Either way, there were guys getting their hands on the football. Mansour Delane had a pass breakup. There it was. So I thought that the defense won the day. But as has been kind of the theme, I feel like the defense, if I were to go back and chart every play that I've seen, I would say the defense is winning, I would almost say significantly more in the 11-on-11 than the offense. However, the offense always seems to make that one play, and they made that one play for a 20-yard touchdown to Xavion Thomas. And that's kind of been the MO of the offense to this point. I would personally rather see, if I'm just talking about the offense and I'm taking the defense out of the equation here, which is impossible in an LSU environment, but pretend for a second I'm only evaluating the offense and not the defense. I would rather the offense consistently get 4 or 5 yards on the ground, consistently get 7 or 8 yards on the ground, as opposed to TFL, 1, 3, 1, TFL, 1, TFL, 50. Like, I respect the explosiveness of the offense, and if you can promise me you're going to bust off 2 50-yard runs every game, well, I'll take that. We'll live. Those just are harder to come by in live action against great defenses, which LSU will see. So to me, there is an element of dependability in the big play with the offense. There's an element of dependability with the explosives in the offense, but there's also a lack of consistency, I think, with the offense. They're not running it great consistently, and Nussmeier's just dealing with muddy pockets a lot. And one thing I did like from the muddy pocket today was on the play where he was flushed out and threw it out towards Aaron Anderson and Stamps had the PBU. Nussmeier was 100% full speed on that play. It was 11-on-11, full tackle, of course not on him, but a full tackle for everybody else. He drops back, feels the pressure, steps up, runs out to his right, and he was booking it out to the right and threw it on the run absolutely no limitation, absolutely no limping. So to me, you're looking at a quarterback with a sleeve on his right knee that is perfectly capable of practicing, and I'm done with that storyline for now. So that's a good thing. I told you yesterday on Monday's show that I was a little concerned with what I was hearing from what the people that saw Saturday. I'm not concerned at all, like 0% at this point. He's practicing full go and looks just fine. In the 7-on-7 period today, charted all those plays as well. That was before the 11-on-11. But I wanted to go through Nussmeier's. A lot of checkdowns a little bit early. Check down to Caden Durham. Hit a nice corner route to Aaron Anderson for 15 yards, which was a good play. Then he checked one down to Caleb Jackson, who continues to catch the ball well. I've been impressed with Caleb Jackson's ability to catch the ball. I don't worry about Barry at all in the check down game. I'm not worrying about Caden Durham at all in the check down game either. He's catching the ball very well. So Nussmeier 3 for 3 on those first 3 throws. Then they went to some situational stuff in 7-on-7. They were working 3rd and 5 for 3 snaps. Nussmeier threw to Kyle Parker, hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. Uncharacteristic. Parker's had a really good camp, but drops happen from time to time. He dropped that one. Then he hit Juwan Johnson on a really nice route by Juwan Johnson. He was lined up on the right side of the formation, went out towards the sideline, and then cut the route back up into the middle of the field, and Nussmeier hit him on a 3rd and 5 right in stride. He beat Devon Keys on that play, which was really, really good. Juwan Johnson's learning a 3rd position here, and he's doing a good job with it there. That was a good throw and catch. Then Mansour Lane with a nice pass breakup on Xavion Thomas on the next one. So Nussmeier was 1 out of 3 in that 3rd and 5 session, but 2 of them were right on the money. And then one was a really good play by the defense. Then they went to 3rd and 8. Nussmeier threw to Barry and Brown over the middle, and Devon Keys had a good pass breakup. Like to see him mixing things up. And again, good job by the LSU linebackers and secondary to get their hands on some footballs today. Nussmeier threw to Destin Hill. DJ Pickett was in really good coverage and would have been stopped short of the 3rd and 8 first down. So a good job by DJ Pickett to make that happen. And then on 3rd and 8, Nussmeier threw to Aaron Anderson, who beat Deshaun Spears. Really tight window, really good throw. And this is a continuation of my feelings on LSU's offense versus defense practices. When Nussmeier gets an opportunity with those wide receivers to go to work in 7-on-7, his completion percentage is astronomically high. Guys are making really good catches. He's accurate. He's on time. Sometimes he takes a snap and it feels like he's waiting a long time back there and you might not have a lot of time. That happens every once in a while, but a lot of times he's just in rhythm and makes the throws. And then when they go to 11-on-11, it just doesn't look that clean. And that's obviously going to be the case far more often than not. The offensive line and defensive line serve a huge purpose for a reason, to make sure that that part of the game is impactful. So when you take them completely out in a 7-on-7, I get that it looks very different. But LSU's offense hums in 7-on-7, and it doesn't hum when they get to 11-on-11. And when I take those two things and I connect dots, you can't go any further but to suggest, like, there are times where that offensive line just it struggles. And I realize it's a tired narrative, but I go out to practice and I chart a whole new practice every day. And if a story drastically changes, I will tell you about how that story changed. The story's not really changing a lot. One thing I love about this practice, this camp that I've charted, that I've watched, how many times have I been out there now? 7, 8 times? LSU's defense is making plays at every level. They're getting TFLs from the defensive line. The linebackers are getting TFLs. The linebackers are having pass breakups. Harold Perkins with a pick. West Weeks making plays at the line of scrimmage. Devon Keys with a pass breakup. And then the secondary is holding its own. 3 years now, I've gone out to these fall camp practices. The secondary has not held its own. It just hasn't. They are now. So I expect very much a step up for this LSU defense. I've got numbers that are going to talk about how I'm going to use this word, how bad LSU's defense was last year. We have a warped perspective because they were better than 2023. 2023 was abysmal. Last year was bad. And I'm going to talk about some of those numbers in the second hour. This camp has looked very different, and I'm excited about that. And when linebackers are making interceptions and pass breakups and DBs are making plays down the field, that has nothing to do with LSU's offensive line trying to find itself. That's guys making plays on the football independent of that, obviously, which I like to see. So that's a look at LSU football practice today. We may not get another look at the Tigers this week. They will practice on Wednesday and Thursday. We will not be allowed in. We don't have word on what Friday and Saturday look like. Brian Kelly suggested a couple weeks ago that Saturday were going to be their scrimmage days. We did have access this past Saturday. We'll see if that's the case this week. But right now, no word as to when we'll see him again. If you'd like a full practice report, it's got play-by-play as well as some of my commentary. You can check that out for free on LouisianaSports.net. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. If you're looking for some hunting land in the Felicianas, in Point Capee, in southern Mississippi around Woodville, St. Francisville, in Felicianas, if you're looking for hunting property, if you're looking for a place for your second home, Daryl May and Trusty Properties can help you out with all of that. It's his specialty. He's born and raised here in Baton Rouge, lives in St. Francisville. That's his neck of the woods. He's got access to the most premier listings of land if you're looking for 30 acres or 300 acres. Daryl May can help you out with your land purchases. He's there with Trusty Properties. Their name you can trust. And he brings us our Tuesday shows each and every week. When we come back, Will Clapp going to miss some time. What does that mean for the Saints, and what's that offensive line looking like as of today? We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. Whole team on wild.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Saints were on the preseason field Sunday afternoon, and pretty quickly the offensive line injuries started to impact the interior of the Saints front line. Obviously, Will Clapp goes down early in that game. Trevor Penning went out a little bit later. And Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football, reported yesterday that Clapp suffered a foot injury during the game and is going to miss, quote-unquote, significant time. That is absolutely a blow to this New Orleans Saints offensive line depth. Clapp has been a solid veteran in the NFL, spent time, of course, with the Saints, spent time with the Chargers when Brandon Staley was there. Kellen Moore was there as well. And he is a versatile player. Those here in this Baton Rouge market certainly know that well from his time at LSU, but he's been a center and a guard in the NFL, and you need depth at those positions. The last 2 years with the Saints offensive line have taught us anything. You've got to have some depth on the offensive line, and not only does Clapp add depth at center, where he was playing on Sunday, but he adds depth at both guard spots where he can absolutely fill in. And it was likely, very likely, I might add, that Clapp was going to make this team. And I still think there's a reasonable chance that happens, depending on just how significant this foot injury is. If this is something that's going to be 3 months, well, then the Saints have got to look elsewhere. If this is something that's 6 weeks, well, that's a different story altogether. So I'm not sure what the future holds for Will Clapp in the immediacy, but this is not good news for the New Orleans Saints, who need some guys up front to play better than they did on Sunday. It was I went into this was my lead into talking about the Saints and Chargers game from Sunday afternoon. Like, the Saints were bad on the offensive line. And I do think that you've got a really good center in Eric McCoy, who didn't play. So that's step one here to fill in for Clapp. The actual starter will be that guy. But then on the guards, like, Cesar Ruiz is not playing well. Like, he's been mediocre at best, serviceable at best. And then you look at Trevor Penning, who is a question mark at this point. And now he's even more of a question mark if he's hurt. So with Clapp going down, you saw Torricelli Simpkins come in, and I thought really played well. I think the highlight was when he came in and actually knocked down 2 defensive linemen on 1 blocking play. But I thought he acquitted himself reasonably well in spot duty there when Will Clapp went out unexpectedly. And that's a guy that you will look at to potentially add some depth to that group. He's a rookie. He's completely unproven at this level, but right now, you're not going to ask Eric McCoy to do too much in the preseason, and Will Clapp's unavailable. So all of a sudden, that becomes a guy who could be an option for you. As far as the other 2 guard spots with Penning and Ruiz, and then who's next, you've got some work to do to fill that spot, because I didn't see anything outside of Simpkins on Sunday that would give me a ton of confidence. So you've got workouts with the Rams, you've got a preseason game coming up at home with Jacksonville, and you've got a couple more weeks to get things in order. And I realize it feels like the Saints have been in training camp and practicing and for a while, and they have, but you do have a long runway in the NFL preseason. I think that runway is going to shorten up here in the next couple of years if they add a couple games on, add a game on. But right now, you do have time. They've got to work some guys out and see what they can do to create some depth. Because I don't know what Penning's situation is, and Clapp is now a big question mark. And we know that finding offensive linemen that are functional and available is very, very difficult. The Saints have tried this game for the last 2 years as it's been just a mash unit up front. And the worst part about this is that it compromises your quarterback's ability to develop when you can't protect them. And that's not just in the preseason games. It's not just in the games that count coming up in September. It's practice. And you're not going to say, hey, Davon Godshaw, hey, Brian Brzee, hey, Jacksonville on Sunday. Like, can y'all, calm down for a second on the defensive front so our quarterbacks can get some work? Like, it doesn't work that way. You need guys up front to perform in every practice, in every rep, in every preseason game so that your young quarterbacks have a fighting chance. And it's hard to do when you've got, 1, underperforming players, and 2, injured players. So Clapp was at least going to be a pretty high floor option for you as depth. If you don't want to play McCoy a lot in the preseason, I get it. Well, now you don't necessarily have that. So to me, I'm looking big picture here. I'm less looking at, okay, Will Clapp's not available, so who's the backup right guard? Like that is important for an NFL team, but I'm not as concerned with it as far as the future of the Saints franchise goes. What I'm concerned with is, can anybody block while we're trying to get Tyler Shook reps? Like, that's the big picture situation we're looking at here. And I just don't know the answer to it right now. So it's a question mark. It's one we'll have to look at. We'll talk to Sharif about it in the second hour. And we'll certainly watch and try to evaluate on Sunday. But the Saints just needed to stay healthy at a few of these positions. And the offensive line is certainly one of them. And while this is a backup, and I'm not trying to make too big a deal out of that, and you are talking about what doesn't appear to be a significant injury to Trevor Penning at left guard, like you still basically have your 5-man starting lineup, but how often is that group going to play before you get to the snaps that really count? It's unfortunate, and certainly for a guy in Will Clapp that we know very well, that's worked here, that spent time at LSU and is now a second-time member of the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans native. Just a rough break for him that he won't be able to be out there for a significant amount of time, as Nick Underhill writes. But we'll see what the Saints decide to do with that offense and try to shore things up on the offensive line. And we'll certainly be talking about it as we move forward. Ross Jackson is out in California. He's covering things for LouisianaSports.net, certainly Locked On Saints as well. But if you're looking for your Saints coverage, you can find it there for free on LouisianaSports.net. Find my Saints stuff, Hunt on Saints, anywhere you find your podcasts, certainly on YouTube as well. Just search Hunt on Saints. If you subscribe to the channel, we certainly do appreciate that. All right, we'll transition back to LSU football. Glenn West, Go 24/7, been out at practice each and every day, so we'll get his thoughts on what's going on out there when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item. We prominently feature.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May, Trustee Properties. Glenn West, Senior Writer, Go 24/7, joins us on Tuesdays. Been out at LSU practice each and every day. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, hon. How about yourself?
Doing very well. Let's talk about the competition 11-on-11 that we've seen. Big picture, what are your thoughts on how the offense and defense have looked going against each other?
I think the clear winner so far, if you were to ask me here through 2.5 weeks of camp, has been the defense. I think that just really the front seven has kind of set the tone, I think, for all of fall camp in regards to how 11-on-11 has gone to this point, and has led to some playmaking opportunities in the back half of the defense as well. So the offense has had its moments, whether it's in the red zone or on a couple big plays down the field through the passing game, a couple big 40-yard Caden Durham touchdown runs, things of that nature. But I think from a consistency standpoint, the defense has really, applied a ton of pressure on the backfield of LSU and getting some pressure on Nussmeier, forcing some big tackles for loss, some minimal gains on the run kind of thing. And I think that the defense has been the big winner so far when you look at just the 11-on-11 stuff and how the front seven and that front line of defense in particular, with guys like Bernard Gooden and Dominic McKinley and Jack Pyburn coming off the edge, Gabriel Relaford coming off the edge. All those guys have pretty consistently made plays and done a really nice job so far.
So with that being your take on it, I want to ask, has this looked different than the last 2 or 3 fall camps that you've watched?
I think so. I think last year there were some throws that Nussmeier would have wanted to have back in terms of just the interceptions. And to his credit, I think the reason the offense has looked not great hasn't been because of Nussmeier putting the ball in very many compromising positions. It's just been because, honestly, this defensive line is just having its way with the way that it's performing right now, and the aggression and the physicality, the havoc that it's creating back there. And so I will say from that perspective, I think it is a little bit different than the previous couple of camps where maybe there was some pushback from the offensive line and, there wasn't as much pressure in previous fall camps. So it's just the age-old question, right, though, is this a question of, is the defensive line just going to be that good for LSU? Is the front seven going to be that good? Or is this the thing that we talked about last week where maybe it's just the offensive line needs a little bit more timing and a little bit more reps together to kind of finally start to push back a little bit? And I think that they did. I think that they have shown that back in the Saturday practice. I thought outside of the penalties, the offensive line did show some protection on Garrett Nussmeier a little bit more consistently. And today, even I think there wasn't as much pressure, and they were able to get a couple of good throws there to the back of the end zone. One to Xavier Thomas that went for a touchdown. So there's been some small signs of progress, I think, over the last couple of practices, but still a long ways to go in that respect.
What do you make of the big plays the offense has made? You mentioned the Durham touchdown runs and some big plays that Nussmeier's made through the air. Do you think this is going to be an explosive offense?
I think so. I think we can't really know until the game start or anything like that. But I think that there is an explosive element to this offense that when it's clicking and when it's working right, there's going to be some opportunities there for guys like Durham to make plays. Certainly Barry and Brown, Chris Hilton are guys that I think are going to make some big time plays for LSU this year. Trades Green was a guy that we talked to today, and they've been targeting him like a ton in the red zone. I mean, I would probably guess of the 20 or so plays that we've seen the offense run in the red zone, 7 or 8 of them have gone to Trades in terms of just trying to get him the ball inside the 10, inside the 20 kind of yard line area there. So there's going to be an element to that, of course, but I will say, like, the defense has done a good job of limiting those opportunities and making them more exceptions to the rule as opposed to being a constant theme that we're seeing with this offense.
More catches this year, Trades Green or Bauer Sharp?
It's a great question. I would probably lean Trades. I think that they're just going to target him a ton in the red zone, and when the field shrinks, that was something we talked about with him today, as I mentioned, and he gave us a pretty great quote here that I just actually put up on our social media account. But he says, "I call the red zone the green zone," and he put that in kind of quotes there because I feel like that's my zone to really kind of wreak havoc and have my way in kind of that area there, because I mean, the dude's 6'7", he's a legit target, somebody that I think Nussmeier is going to go after a lot. But Bauer Sharp's going to have a major role in this offense as well, and I think arguably he's been the guy that's gotten the most first team reps, maybe in that 11-on-11 when they've gone full kind of full drive mode. But certainly when the field shrinks, I think you're going to see Trades Green have a huge role on this team, and he's somebody that I think they're gonna split out wide a little bit too. Like they're gonna move him around a little bit, make him a very versatile piece in this offense. And so for that reason, I think that you're going to see maybe a few more catches for Trades, but both are going to be heavily involved.
Do you have a lean on the first, call it 4 secondary players? Who are the first 4 guys if you have Perkins at the star, but if you're just talking 2 corners, 2 safeties, who do you like right now?
Yeah, I think today we saw a really good unit that I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we see, week 1 against Clemson. It's Monsieur Delane and Ashton Stamps at cornerback, and then the safeties, A.J. Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley. Like, that was a pretty popular run today with they kind of did things a little bit different, where it was the second team offense going against the first team defense. And so we saw, a lot of Cooley, a lot of Halsey, a lot of Stamps, and a lot of Monsieur Delane today. So I think that's maybe the 4 that I am kind of gravitating towards right now. Doesn't mean that those positions are settled. They're still rotating guys like Deshaun Spears in a ton. Certainly PJ Woodland and DJ Pickett are getting a couple of looks as well. But I think those top 4 are where I'm leaning right now.
I was not there on Saturday. I'm told that Jordan Gilbert worked some at Star, and we know Harold Perkins is going to play there more often than not. Do you feel like it's less likely that he's a starting safety on this team?
I wouldn't put it past him to be a starter at week 1 against Clemson. Like, I think I also saw that they did play him a little bit at Star. He was going through individual drills at Star at the very beginning of that Saturday practice, and so I think they're keeping their options open with Jordan in terms of his role on the team. But I think for me personally, Halsey and Cooley are the 2 that LSU would love to kind of take those 2 spots and run with them. But Gilbert will be involved just because from an experience standpoint, there's not many guys that have played the amount of SEC games or had the amount of snaps that he's had over the last couple of years of his career. So I think he still will be involved, but Halsey and Cooley are the 2 that I'm looking at most closely right now.
How do you feel Juwan Johnson's assimilated to a new role at running back?
Um, okay. I think right now they're still trying to get him caught up to speed with back at the running back position. I mean, he took a couple snaps at quarterback today, and they did not go well. But I think and he also had a few carries at running back too. And I don't believe he had many positive gains. Maybe he had a couple where he had a couple yards, but I I think he's going to have to be that fourth guy at running back. Like they're just so thin at that position right now, and they really need to be working with him at that position. And it's good to see, at least to start week 3 of fall camp, that they have maybe gravitated towards that a little bit more. Whereas before it was a little bit of running back, but mostly quarterback. I think now you're seeing it's mostly running back and a little bit of quarterback with Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they've got to, with the depth of that running back position being as compromised that it is. All right, I'm going to throw this at you one at a time, so we'll take it one at a time. What's the most difficult game on LSU's schedule this year?
Clemson. I think Clemson's the easy answer here, just with all that's tied to it in week 1. If you win that game, what it means for your season, and if you lose that game, what it then means for your season and what you have to be to still accomplish the goals that you want to have.
What's the second toughest game on LSU's schedule?
Oof, that is a tough one because I think there are a couple that come to mind just right off the bat. Obviously, at Bama is going to be right up there, but to me, Florida at home, especially depending on how that Clemson game goes, Florida at home, I think is going to be a huge, huge game for LSU this year. But I'll probably stick with Bama on the road.
Then if I asked you what the third most difficult game was, you would go to Florida at home before you went to at Oxford, at Norman, South Carolina, the A&M.
I think so. I think Florida at home is going to be a huge, huge game for LSU this year. I think DJ Lagway in his sophomore season could very well be one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. And that's going to be I think that's going to be a tough game for LSU, but one that you're glad is at home.
All right, I'm going to do that exercise coming up here in 20 minutes. I did it on our site back on the weekend, but I'm going to do it in 20 minutes. I think next week we'll probably get some season-long predictions from you, and then by the time we talk the third time, it'll be time to head to Clemson.
Yeah.
So fired up for it. We'll see you out there. We just got the email. I guess I'll see you out there on Friday morning.
All right. Sounds good. I got to go check it. Thanks, man.
Go.
Appreciate it.
Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. Team coverage, recruiting coverage. He's with us every Tuesday. You can check all that out, all his work at go247.com. He and Sonny do a fantastic job. Appreciate him for a little bit of time on Tuesdays moving forward. Sharif Ishak, always with us on Tuesdays as well. He'll be with us coming up in the second hour. I do, as we're on LSU right now, I want to get to meet the freshmen next, but I've got a little bit more in this segment that I want to go. There is a name that I have not talked about a lot on this show that has not been a starter, but is creeping into practice more and more and making plays more and more. And it's not a guy that I gave a lot of thought to 3 weeks ago, because I'm looking at his position and I'm looking at a fifth-year senior and a third-year player who's going pro and a fourth-year player that's going pro and a guy that was in his class that played a little bit more than him. And I'm going, I don't know if there's a lot of room for Tylen Singleton to play. But Tylen Singleton, linebacker from Manny, has been out there a lot with the twos, and today was running with the first team. In 7-on-7, the first group they put out had the first team shell of the secondary, but neither Weeks brother was out there. It was Devon Keys and Tylen Singleton, and I liked that. I like getting those guys some work. Like Witt and West certainly were out there practicing. I told you that Witt and Harold Perkins had a TFL. West had a really nice play at the line of scrimmage against Juwan Johnson where he locked him up, and those guys were practicing, but they continue to sub some guys in, and they want to get looks at some guys. And Tylen Singleton is a guy that I think, based on his usage in practice, is someone that I think they would be comfortable putting in the game. He's down the pecking order because it's going to be Witt Weeks, and then it's going to be West Weeks, and then it's going to be Devon Keys. But I think Singleton would be the fourth guy ahead of all those freshmen at this point. Perkins, I think, is out at star. He's not going to come inside. They're not going to do that to him. And that's a good thing because you don't want to have to move Harold Perkins inside because you don't have another linebacker to turn to, and then so you can bring Jordan Gilbert into star, move Perkins inside, because then I think you are weakening yourself significantly at star if you take Harold Perkins away from it. And so if Tylen Singleton can work his way up to a steady fourth option inside linebacker, that's a very good thing. And based on the way that he has gotten some reps, some with the second team, more with the second team, okay, now let's put him in there with a little bit of the first team guys. Plus, you realize, as I just mentioned, West Weeks is gone after this year, Witt Weeks is going to leave, and Harold Perkins is gone. So you're going to need to overhaul that linebacker core. I like the fact that Devon Keys is going to be in his second year playing a lot of football, and if Tylen Singleton can get to the field a good bit this year, I think that's a very good thing for LSU as they look to the next season. You realize how much of this roster is going to move on after this year, and that's not something we're going to talk a ton about right now because they got a big season to play here. But it's just the program doesn't stop if you lose 3 games this year. You got to keep fielding a team, and I think Tylen Singleton deserves a bit of a mention here as we've been out at practice the last couple of days, and I saw him a lot today, specifically with the first team, and I think he's doing a good job in his second year in the program. So wanted to give a little shout out there to Tylen Singleton. All right, when we come back, we'll meet the freshmen, and then we got a busy second hour coming up. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties right here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. You know, you get that new car. It's such an exciting time. And you need one of the sales reps to come out and show you how all the features work, right? Cars nowadays, you got your touch screens, you got your backup sensors and all kind of cameras that do different things, different safety features. You want to be well-versed in what kind of car you're driving, and certainly Genesis fits in that mold. They got a lot of features. And so you go and you sit out in the parking lot and you walk around the car and you're sitting there and it's 900 degrees on the blacktop. That's just not a very pleasant experience, is it? Well, what if they had a climate-controlled area to pull the car in the air conditioning so you could do that in comfort? That's just part of going the extra mile. It's what Genesis does. And if you purchase a Genesis, you'll get that experience to go with an industry-leading warranty, to go with an IHA top safety pick, go with one of the safest cars on the road. It's just an experience. It's a luxury vehicle at a reasonable price. That's the model at Genesis of Baton Rouge. I invite you to go by and see him. Airline at Pico, across from Women's Hospital. It's right there. You can't miss it. Just go chat with him. Say, hey, I've heard Hunt talk about you. I'd love to get behind the wheel of one of your vehicles. They'd love to help you with that. And you'll feel like a guest, not a customer. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check out that inventory online, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's
not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
All right, closing up shop here in hour number 1. We got a busy hour number 2. Sharif Ishak, bottom of the hour. At the top of hour 2, I'm going to talk about LSU's schedule this coming year, and I'll rank it most difficult to easiest games on the slate. And then I've got some numbers for LSU's defense from last year that actually surprised me a little bit this morning that I wanted to get to and kind of lay those out. So we'll do that at 2:15. But for right now, to close out the hour, let's meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
And it started with Jamie Howard's kid, Walker Howard, showing up on campus for a year. And that went back to my childhood when I knew those players, and now their sons are on the team. And we continue that here with J.D. LaFleur, son of David LaFleur, plays the same position as well. And J.D. LaFleur is a big boy, 6'7", 253 pounds. He becomes the biggest tight end on LSU's roster immediately. And I think he is going to be guarded from the field at this point in his career because you've got Bauer Sharp, you've got Trades Green, and then Donovan Green can come in and kind of be that extra blocker who can certainly catch the football. So you've got J.D. LaFleur as kind of next in line. Bauer Sharp will move on after this year. Donovan Green maybe comes back, and then Trades Green will have another year. But J.D. LaFleur will see more playing time next year because he's physically a big mauling blocker. But he can also catch the ball. He's got soft hands, and he comes from that great pedigree with his dad being a first-round pick in the NFL draft of the Dallas Cowboys. He was a 4-star recruit by On3 and Rivals, 3 stars by 24/7 and On3. You're talking about Rivals called him number 17 tight end in the country, number 12 player in the state of Louisiana. I think this is a really high floor ad here for LSU in this class. You're talking about a guy who understands the position, understands how to play because of the house that he grew up in, and the measurables are fantastic to be that big and that strong. So a year where he'll be able to kind of ease into the program. He'll get stronger, which is a scary thought considering how big he is. And I think his time to actually contribute and play will be next year. Speaking of size, that's the next guy on this list. And this is one of those freshmen you walk out there and you go, that's a freshman? CJ Jim Coyley is massive. And as I sit here today, I can't tell you exactly what position he's going to play at LSU. He's listed on LSU's roster as a safety. When he was being recruited, it was linebacker. Either way, he is 6'3" and all of 6'3" and 220 pounds. Keep in mind, when Eric Reed left LSU at safety as an All-American, he was 6'2", 215 pounds. CJ Jim Coyley is already bigger than that, and you notice it when you go out to the practice field. So he's worked some at star, he's worked some at safety, and I think there's an opportunity for him potentially to work at linebacker depending on what he fills out to. If he's 6'3", 235 pounds, which is very possible in a year and a half in the program, that's a linebacker. I don't know how you could play safety at 230. He's 220 right now. I've not seen him cut it wide open and run, so I don't know what that looks like. But physically, his size is really, really, really impressive. He was a consensus 4-star, one of the top players in the state of Tennessee. He prepped at Lipscomb Academy and played 1 year for Kevin Mawai there. Top 5 player in the state of Tennessee, top 15 safety nationally by Rivals. He is a physical specimen. and they just have to find a place to get him on the field. I don't think that's this year. They've loaded so heavily with the transfer portal that I don't think there's a spot for him right now. And you look at that freshman class that he's a part of, and there are 5 linebackers in that class. So it's going to be interesting to see where he moves around. My sincere hope is that they find a spot and put him there, because I think he can shine because of his measurables. But he looks athletic. He doesn't look like a freshman, and he is as impressive a body type as you will see in this freshman class. There are guys that Harlem Berry, DJ Pickett, those guys are out there repping with the ones a lot. Charles Ross has gotten some run with the second-team linebackers. We've seen Carius Kern is a guy that's impressed a lot of folks. And so there are some members of this freshman class that the staff and the players are very, very high on. I haven't heard as much about C.J. Jim Coley, but file that name away, because I think he's going to help. Taylor, you've been out there at practice. We got like 50 seconds there. I mean, am I wrong when you look at Jim Coley physically? That's not what freshmen used to look like.
No, I mean, there's been times where he's ran second-team star behind Perkins. I mean, they're moving around everywhere. I like him. I actually think he's going to play a little bit. I
wouldn't be stunned. Louisiana Tech and Southeastern, you'll see him out there if you're watching on the TV cut. From the stadium, it may be a little bit tough to see, but from the TV cut, you'll notice him. He is an impressive dude. So that's maybe the 2 most physically impressive freshmen in the class, J.D. LaFleur and C.J. Jim Coley. We've got 3 days left of Meet the Freshman. That means we've got 6 guys left to run through. We'll get through the entire class for 2025 here at LSU. So that'll wrap up hour number 1. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. My practice report at the top of the show. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. Also chatted with Glenn West as well. When we come back, a lot of LSU for the first half hour. Then we'll talk to Sharif in 35 minutes. Come back after Sports Center on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
I'm Christine Lisi. Once again, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford not on the field for practice today. He has yet to practice at training camp this summer because of a back injury. Packers QB Jordan Love will undergo a procedure to repair a ligament injury to his left thumb. He is expected, though, to be ready for the September 7th season opener. Love was injured in Saturday's preseason opener. So how might he be impacted? ESPN injury expert Stefania Bell weighs in.
When they have hand injuries, you think, well, it's his non-throwing hand, no big deal, but they still have to be able to accept the ball. So taking snaps under center can be a problem when you have a thumb injury on your non-throwing hand. And even just how you hold and set the ball can be an issue. But then, once you're past that stage, at least you don't have to worry about how that grip will affect the ball because you're non-throwing.
Stefania Bell on Clinton and Friends. After screenshots of past references to sports gambling on his Venmo account surfaced online yesterday, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer denied ever being involved with gambling, said it was instead inside jokes with his friends. The school is planning an investigation, reports ESPN's Pete Thamel.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Why don't I give you Daryl's phone number to kick off this hour if you're looking for that hunting property, if you're looking for just some land outside the city to build that next home, looking for a property for agriculture, if you're looking for something in the Felicianas, in Point Capee, into Mississippi, Woodville, up to Natchez, Daryl May can help you with that. 225-268-6915. Again, 225-268-6915. Daryl, born and raised right here in Baton Rouge, Catholic high grad, lives up in St. Francisville now. This is his neck of the woods. If you're looking for land, Daryl May and Trustee Properties are a name you can trust. All right, I did this for Louisiana Sports Night over the weekend, and it got some traction. I wanted to kind of bring it to the airwaves here. I took LSU schedule 1 to 12 and ranked it toughest to easiest, as I see it at this point in the calendar. Inevitably, this will change. I don't think anybody saw the complete faceplant by Oklahoma last year where they couldn't complete a pass. I'm not sure a lot of people saw South Carolina coming the way that they ended up showing up last year. I don't think many people thought Alabama would lose 4 games last year. So things are in flux. But as I see it right now, I ranked LSU's schedule most difficult to least get difficult 1 to 12. And so we'll go through that exercise, and I'll give you kind of my thought process and welcome your feedback in the Bayou Forward chat or certainly on Twitter as well. I believe the most difficult game on LSU's schedule is at Clemson. Now, we asked Glenn West this at about 140, a little bit earlier in the show. And he said Clemson based on kind of what it means for the season and what it means if you win. For me, it's less about that. And for me, it's more about LSU's offense has not gotten out of neutral in the last 3 season openers. They were not good on offense in the Superdome against Florida State. That's understandable. You had a brand new quarterback, brand new coaching staff, brand new everything, remade offensive line. We were bad. But that 2023 offense was legendary, and they stunk in that Florida State game. And then last year was not very good on offense. You had 2 nice running plays from Emory, and that was kind of it. You hit Lacey for a few big plays. But you weren't nearly what you would become later on. Well, you got to fix that. And you got a tough defense that you're playing on the road. I think that's the toughest game on the schedule to me. We'll talk more about Clemson moving forward, and we'll talk about the fact that they lost to Louisville last year at home. We'll talk about the fact they lost to South Carolina last year at home, and we'll talk about the fact they haven't been the cream of the crop in college football for the last 4 years. But I still think it's the toughest game on LSU's schedule. So I ranked it first. I took Alabama second. You're talking about a roster that's still got a lot of NFL guys on it. Ryan Williams is a freak at wide receiver. Caden Proctor is a big physical offensive lineman. That's what their whole offensive line is made off of. Tim Keenan on the defense is a pro. Damani Jackson in the secondary is a pro. And I just think in Bryant-Denny late in the season, despite the fact that I think that Ty Simpson, who was named their quarterback today, may have his issues, that's still a very difficult place to play against a team with a ton of talent. So to me, I've got Alabama as the second toughest game on LSU's schedule. This is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. I'm going to drink a little bit of the Oklahoma Kool-Aid here and put this one at 3. There's a group here of about 5 games that I think you could jumble up and toss them out any way that you see fit. I put Oklahoma. Their defense last year was not terrible. They were 19th in the country in total defense and allowed about 22 points per game. And considering the fact that they were the worst offense in the SEC, that's a pretty good effort on defense when you've got to carry the entire mantle. They held Alabama to 3 points. So if you figure that bringing in Ben Arbuckle from Washington State and John Mateer from Washington State at least gives you a decent offense. If it's not good, if it's decent. And Venable still calls the defense, that's probably still a pretty good team, and you got to do it on the road. So I've got Oklahoma at 3, but I'll tell you this. It would not surprise me at all if Brent Venables isn't even on the sideline when LSU plays Oklahoma after Thanksgiving. Like, that's where this thing could go. So I've got it 3 right now. I understand that could change pretty quickly. Number 4, I think a game that is going to be very difficult for LSU. I would pick them to win it today, but I think it would be difficult. Texas A&M. Say, oh, Hunt, you always drink the stupid Kool-Aid. They're not any good every year. It's an 8-4 program. They'll be 8-4 this year. LSU beat it at home. And they've never beaten LSU in Tiger Stadium since the SEC added them in 2012. I get it. But they have an identity at this point in the calendar because A&M has 4 offensive line starters back. They've got Le'Veon Moss back, and Marcel Reed is an athlete. So at the very least, they should have a pretty good running game. They also returned the entire secondary and 2 of the linebackers from Mike Elko's defense. So I think they're going to be a pretty good team. And I think that I put them at the 4th most difficult game for LSU for those reasons. I've got South Carolina at 5. I think a lot of people would put up South Carolina 3. I've got them at 5. I'm just not ready to completely trust South Carolina's program to replace all those pieces on defense. Like, you've got Dylan Stewart, who's a superstar, but you lose the SEC Defensive Player of the Year in Kennard, like he's gone. And you lose that defensive line that was just a terror, that was just really difficult to block outside of Stewart. So I think Sellers is pretty good. I think he made some critical throwing errors against LSU and certainly against Alabama when he had a 2-point conversion right in front of him and couldn't complete it. And I don't think he plays on schedule very often, but he is very athletic and he is very difficult to deal with when he gets going. So I've got South Carolina at 5, but I don't think they're top 4. This is the one I struggled with the most, and I landed at 6 for this one because I just don't have a feel for this team at all, and that's Ole Miss. It's on the road, which is difficult. But you lost everybody. Everybody. That defense had 5 draft picks come off of it. You don't have Walter Nolan anymore. You don't have Trey Amos anymore. You don't have Princely Mamiela anymore. Come to the offensive side, Trey Harris is gone. Jackson Dart is gone. You lose Bentley. Like you lose a lot. So my thought is, okay, you've got Lane Kiffin. Austin Simmons is a really good talent, I figure they'll score some, but do I really trust Ole Miss to go restock the shelves on defense when I'm told that two of the guys that are going to start for them are Deshaun Womack and Sage Ryan, and I've watched those dudes, okay? So if you want to start comparing those guys to Trey Amos, Prince Umamayelin, I got news for you. So I don't think Ole Miss is going to be as talented this year, and I don't think that playing in Oxford is the most difficult place in the conference to play. I think it's going to be a tough game. I've got it at 6, but I don't think it's some sort of it's not nearly what it would have been last year. Georgia found that out. So we got a 7, and Glenn said this is his third most difficult game. I got Florida at 7. Huge game for both programs. Florida will be 2-0 when they get here. They play Long Island and South Florida. And it'll be a huge game for LSU. DJ Lagway is a good player. He played at the end of last year with one leg. In his 6 starts, Florida went 5-1, and the one they lost, he was starting against Georgia, and they were beating Georgia when he got hurt. Now, I think Georgia would have still beat him if he stayed in the game. But they were winning. So I've got Florida at number 7. They've got 4 offensive line starters back. Jaden Ball is back. They should run the ball pretty well. Eugene Wilson III is back. This is Billy Napier's best Florida team, and I think that it's going to be a challenge. But that's the group that I could be pretty interchangeable with. Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, A&M, and Oklahoma is 3 through 7. And that's kind of the meat of the SEC, the middle of the pack in the SEC. And then beyond that, I don't think LSU has any problems in the rest of these games. I have number 8, Vanderbilt. I'm not going to try to take away from what they did last year because they beat Alabama. They played Texas to a 3-point game. They beat Virginia Tech. They beat Auburn. If you tell me any year, no matter what the rosters look like, just drop me into the time portal and tell me that Vanderbilt beat Alabama, played Texas to a 3-point game, beat Virginia Tech, and beat Auburn. That's a great year for Vanderbilt, no matter what. But I'm telling you right now that there are only 3 teams in the league I would rather play than Vanderbilt. That's Kentucky, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. They don't have talent. They don't have a lot of talent. Diego Pavia is a gamer. He's fun to watch. He's going to run around. Is he a great player? He's not. And they don't have a lot of great players. Eli Stowers is a great player. He's a tight end. That's pretty much it. And it won't be an intimidating environment. LSU will have 40% of the stadium, and they'll win that game by 2 scores comfortably. That's just what's going to happen at Vanderbilt. And then I've got the SEC game that ranks the bottom of my list here. That's Arkansas. Bobby Petrino did manage to produce the number 10 offense in the country last year with Taylor Green, and he's back. But you don't have Andrew Armstrong this year. He was 30% of their passing offense. Your top 9 pass catchers are gone, basically. It's going to be a big transfer portal haul for him to learn. I don't think they're going to be great on defense. It's at home. LSU wins this game against Arkansas. I don't have any problem with that. So I've got that as the most winnable SEC game of the lot. Then you go to the other non-conference games. Western Kentucky can usually throw it around a little bit. They went to Abilene Christian and got a quarterback who threw for almost 4,000 yards last year. They were 7-2 at the beginning of last year before a bumpy finish. They're 10th. Louisiana Tech was terrible last year. They couldn't score at all. They scored 10 points against Florida International, 3 against Sam Houston, 12 against Western Kentucky. Their coach, Sonny Cumbie, is 11-26 in his Tech career. They're bad, and they will be worse than Western Kentucky, so I'll take that as 11th. And then play an FCS team in Southeastern Louisiana, which is just not a fair fight. So that is my thought on this schedule, easiest to hardest. I think Clemson is the toughest game on the schedule. At Bama is number 2. At Oklahoma, I've got 3. A&M coming to Tiger Stadium is number 4. I got South Carolina 5th. Ole Miss at number 6. That game's on the road. Florida coming to Tiger Stadium. I got that at number 7. Then you get to the games LSU will win. 8 at Vanderbilt. 9 is Arkansas. 10 is Western Kentucky. 11 Louisiana Tech. And 12 Southeastern Louisiana. Taylor, you got any thoughts on that? I think the middle is where the most folks will be in disagreement, where I go Oklahoma, A&M, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida.
Not a ton of disagreement, honestly. Like, I'd maybe switch South Carolina and A&M just because Sellers scares me more than Marcel Reed. I know what he did last year, but I just think Sellers is better. Other than that, like, I don't hate it.
All right, that's good.
Maybe Florida a little higher, only because Florida just always plays us tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it 7th. That's going to be. I saw a thing on ESPN.com that had swing games for every team, and LSU's was Clemson, which is obvious. I could make a great case for Florida. Because even if you lose the Clemson game, if you do come back and beat Florida to go 1-0 in the league, you get your feet under you against Southeastern the next week, and then maybe you win a game against Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and you kind of do what they did last year when they beat Ole Miss and set themselves up for the stretch run against A&M, Bama, and Florida. the Florida game's massive for both programs because Billy Napier needs to get wins early in the season if he possibly can. So, yeah, I'm with you there. It's going to be a huge, huge game. And as Glenn was talking in the first hour about how big the Clemson and Florida games were, I let myself for a moment, just a moment, think about if LSU can go to Clemson and win and beat Florida. Like what this place will be like at the end of September. We have not had that in 6 years. 6 years since you got any traction on winning some games and feeling like you got a real shot. Hopefully, they can find a way to get it done this year and beat Clemson in Florida. It's going to take a heck of an effort to get that done. If you want to read that story, you can over at LouisianaSports.net. Speaking of LouisianaSports.net, I wrote about the defense this morning. Some pretty startling numbers from the defense last year. I'll give them to you next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May, Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Looking for some land? Daryl May, Trustee Properties, happy to help you out with that. So I want to talk defensive line. We have talked so much defensive line from this group and what we've seen on the practice field through 3 weeks. And for good reason. They have done a phenomenal job. It looks great out there. But I also want to just send it back a little bit and talk about defensive line in this program over the golden era of LSU football, which is what we're in. We talked to Scott Rabelais about that on Friday. And it really started under Nick Saban with just an assembly line of defensive linemen that were All-Americans, all-conference players, first, second, third round picks, and longtime NFL guys. It was Marcus Spears and Chad Lavallee, Kyle Williams, Marquise Hill, Glenn Dorsey, Tyson Jackson, Al Woods, Drake Nevis, Sam Montgomery, Benny Logan, Michael Brockers, Kiki Mingo. Like, this is what made LSU great, is just consistently pumping defensive linemen into the NFL draft. What if I told you that LSU, since 2015, has produced one first or second round pick on the defensive line? One in 10 drafts. Mason Smith. That's it. And while Mason Smith has made his mark on the NFL and has certainly garnered some paychecks, his production at LSU, partly due to a season-ending injury in the opening game of the 2022 season, was minimal. So you just haven't had the dudes, period. And it has absolutely shown up. Last year, if I were to sit here and go, okay, what do you think about LSU's defense last year in the running game? You'd probably go, oh, it was better. That's probably like your first instinct. Because in 2023, they couldn't do anything. So anything they did this past year was going to be a step up. But here's the facts. Last year, LSU was 12th in the SEC in rushing yards allowed per game. They were 13th in the SEC in yards per carry allowed. And they were dead last in touchdowns allowed on the ground. They gave up 26. That was worst in the SEC. And you know what makes that statistic even worse? Even more of a black eye? No team in the conference faced fewer rushing attempts than LSU last year. Think about that. No one on defense lined up and faced fewer rushing attempts in the SEC, and no one gave up more rushing touchdowns. That's bad. It's bad. 12th in the SEC in rushing yards allowed per game is bad. 13th in the SEC in rushing yards per carry allowed is bad. LSU's running defense was bad. Was it better than 2023? Yes, it was. Did they take steps in the right direction? Yes, they did. Did Jacoby and Guillory miss the entire season after Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo left for the NFL draft a year early? All that happened. Did you have to force Gio Paez and Paris Shand inside because you didn't really have anybody else? Yep. Did you have to start Ahmad Bro as a freshman? Did Dominic McKinley get hurt? Yeah, that happened too. There were lots of things that happened. But the end result of all these things that happened was LSU's rushing defense stunk. And it has to get better. When you look at the college football playoff field from last year, which is where LSU's trying to go this year, 6 of the top 13 run defenses in the country made the CFP. That's half the playoff field was in the top 13 run defenses in the country. If you look at the final 8 teams that were left, their average run defense ranking in the country was 24th. LSU's was 51st last year. That's not good enough. Texas A&M and Alabama essentially ran LSU's season off a cliff last year around Halloween. In those two games, those two programs ran for 553 yards on 6 yards per carry and 11 rushing touchdowns in 2 games. 11. So when it came to the most crucial point in your schedule, you could not stop the ground game. It's got to get better. And I think it will. But that's a huge, huge, huge step up that's got to happen from this group. And I would suggest that that group on the interior of the defensive line needs to help in the pass rush as well. And Blake Baker said this yesterday in his press availability. He said, when you look at rushing the passer, the front four, the biggest difference this camp to last year, we're getting some pressure from the inside. Last year, we were one of the best teams in the country in terms of pressuring the quarterback, but it's all got to work together, the front and the coverage, but also the front four. The ends were right there. He's saying the ends were crashing down, but if we could have gotten a little bit more push inside, the quarterback goes down. So the ends, Swenson and Jones, sometimes early in the season, Perkins, like, we're getting there, but there's no push on the inside, so the quarterback can step up and get away. Bernard Gooden's got to change that. Ahmad Bro's got to be a year better. Dominic McKinley's got to be a year better. They've got to help push the pocket and create those sacks. Last year, Gio Paez, Ahmad Bro, and Parrish Shand combined for 3 total sacks. 3. You have to get more than that. It's hard to rush the passer from the interior. It is. And you don't have to have, your leader in sacks isn't going to come from there. You don't have Aaron Donald on your team. You don't have Ndamukong Suh on your team. But you've got to have more production than that. And that's a huge, huge deal for this LSU defense. I think Blake Baker is speaking from a position of confidence, and I believe it's because he knows that he's got a team much more prepared to be much better than they were last year. You add Jack Pyburn, you add Jamari Butler, you add Patrick Payton, you add Bernard Gooden, you bring Guillory back, and then at linebacker, you got West healthy, you got Keys a year older, Perkins is where he's supposed to be, he's on the field. It's got to be a lot better. And I think that it will be, but I think it took me aback a little bit looking at the statistics last year because I was probably like you, and I'm projecting, you may have disagreed with this completely, I'm projecting on you, the listener, suggesting that your thoughts align with mine, but I think reasonable LSU minds, when asked about last year's defense, would go, well, they got a little bit better. Like, yeah, the quarterbacks ran all over them in a 2-week span. They couldn't stop Reed, couldn't stop Milroe, but, like, they got better. But you don't realize, or I didn't at least, that it was better, but it was only incrementally better. You are not going to be a championship caliber football team unless your run defense gets inside the top 40. You are not going to be a team that can close games unless your interior pass rush can be more productive than that. You can't count on Peyton and Pyburn and Relaford and Butler to do everything on the edges. Can't count on Perkins to do everything. The middle of the defense has to help some. And they just didn't really last year. So you bring in another defensive tackles coach. You give Kevin Peakles another year to mold a different crop. And I would suggest this should get a lot better, but it has to. Because I don't know that I would have characterized LSU's defense last year as bad against the run. It was bad against the run. It was bad. Like, I could have told you about the Sellers run and the Rocket Sanders run into Columbia. I could have told you about Guggenheim running for Nicholls State. I could have told you about Milroe. I could have told you about Reed. But it was really the whole year. And when they were at their best, they were getting pressure. They got pressure on Sellers, sacked him 5 times. Got pressure on Jackson Dart, sacked him 6 times. That's when they were at their best. They've got to get to that level more consistently with this group. If you'd like to read my column on that, all of it is there at louisianasports.net. As always, for free, my practice report is up on the top page right now, as well as out of practice earlier today. If you want to listen to that, you can on Hunt on LSU or at the top of this show, where I detailed my experience out there at practice earlier this morning. All right, 30 minutes to go. We'll talk to Sharif Ishak about the Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Big ol' storm brewing out there in the Atlantic. I think it's called Aaron. Big one. Doesn't figure to impact us. Looks like a lot of the models have it not even touching the East Coast and heading out to sea, which is the way we prefer all of them. But the fact remains that, generally speaking, another one's around the corner this time of year. It's time to make certain that your insurance policy reads properly. If you chose your insurance policy based on the broker that came and gave you the cheapest one, do you know what those exclusions are in there? Do you know what your building evaluation is in there? Do you know if you might be incurring co-insurance penalties if a storm hits and you're improperly insured just because you took the cheapest premium? If that's the case, call the Highland Insurance Group. Make sure it's right. Call the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com. They're experts in the coverage side of this, and they'll make sure your business is taken care of in the event of a storm. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Talked a lot of LSU over the last hour. Let's switch gears back to the New Orleans Saints. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, joins us on Tuesdays, does now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharif, how are we feeling?
I'm honored to be talking to a Netflix legend.
Wow. I mean, those 11 seconds total over 3 episodes really changed my life financially. Purchased 6 secondary homes, an RV, and private jet as well. So we're really moving up after those Netflix appearances. I appreciate you pointing that out.
Well, anything for the Palmer family. I'm doing well. I'm back. I'm back from heaven. It was heavenly out there. Came back yesterday, and it was. I wish I didn't have to come back, but you know what? It was a great experience. I just love being out on the West Coast.
What did you learn from the Saints out there on the West Coast?
You want to start with the game, or you want to start with practice? I'll let you choose.
I want to start with the most important thing you learned.
The most important thing I learned is that Tyler Shuck is better in live action than he is in a practice setting.
Okay.
I think that the wheels maybe have been turning a little bit too much for him in practice. When he got out there into that stadium, I felt like, all right, he sees the game better. He's moving faster. He's processing things better. Like I know he threw a pick six, stared the guy down. That cornerback was on it all the way, but at least he was able to learn from that mistake and come back and hose a 54-yard touchdown pass to Mason Tipton. So I felt like that 2-minute offense that he ran before the end of the half was awesome. He threw a couple slants, dump offs, but he made some good decisions on that drive, and I felt like, look, the potential is there with him. I like what he did. Did not like that second sack he took because I think he held it too long. He could have run it, moved up in the pocket and ran it a little bit, got maybe 7 or 8 yards, and avoided taking that hit on his knee because he had somewhat of his knee bandaged after the game. He said he was bruised, but he said he was going to be all right. So he doesn't need to take those hits at that tall frame of his. Just to get hit the knees at that height, it kind of hurts a little bit, I'm sure. So he said somebody landed on him. But other than that, I felt like he ran the offense so much better than Spencer Rattler. Maybe they called it differently for him. Different players are out there. He was running with the second and third team. Spencer ran in with the first team for the most part. I thought Spencer was decisive and good on the first drive, but after that, things kind of fell apart. But I learned a lot more watching the game after watching it again on TV than in person because I was frustrated in person. I was like, let's get this over with. I'm not a big preseason guy. It was bad, but there were some other positives to take away from that game as well.
So you talked about Shuck being better in the game than practice. We can't watch practice. So, and you said it's a little bit maybe sped up or the wheels are turning a little bit more quickly. When you watch him make mistakes in practice, is he inaccurate? Is he holding on to the ball too long? Like what looked better in the game?
I feel like in practice, I feel like he's just making bad decisions. Like maybe the wheels are just like, they're just not turning at the right pace. He flushes himself out of the pocket and tries to make one of those college throws, 3/4 sidearm into like a tough window, and it doesn't really work out well. Yeah, that pick six was, pretty much one-on-one coverage. It was just a good play, bad throw, whatever you want to say. But I feel like he kind of like took everything bad from practice and made it better during the game. It's just like, I think he like processed the game a little bit better whenever he got onto the field at SoFi Stadium, because sometimes he just throws up balls that you're not supposed to throw up. I mean, you're just lofting balls in practice. I know you learn from your mistake and do it in practice, not in the game, which he did. So it worked. So it seems like he's taking the learning from the practice and the mistakes and translating it better onto the field. I know it's a one sample size, 6 series, 29 snaps, but that's what I gathered. I feel like he's processing the game better live than sometimes in practice.
You mentioned Rattler kind of falling apart after the first drive. What'd you think of his play in totality?
It was okay. It was okay to me. I mean, I think he handled the drives well. He didn't really make any mistakes. Just like Shuck, though, he held that ball a little too long when he got sacked.
Yeah.
He knows he should have probably flushed out of the pocket or thrown it away. 7 completions for 53 yards. Not pretty. Not great. I mean, I know McCoy wasn't playing. I know your receivers outside of Brandon Cooks weren't playing. It was okay. It was okay. I mean, that's not really much more to say other than okay. I mean, that first drive, he did make good decisions. And even whenever they got the ball on a 17-yard line after that muff punt, okay decisions. And he didn't force the ball into a tight window into the end zone and force the turnover. He ran it, tried to score, got hit at the 1-2 yard line. So it was okay, Hunt. I mean, it truly was. It was nothing spectacular. I mean, to me, they're close right now. They're very, very close.
My beef was with the offensive line. I did not think they gave the running backs any room. I did not think they gave the quarterbacks enough time to properly evaluate the situation and make plays. What did you make of the entirety of the offensive line? You had the first team, you had the injuries, you had second teamers. What'd you think?
I really thought, like, I can echo what Ross Jackson said, that Kelvin Banks and Trevor Penning played pretty well to me. I thought those two guys played well. After that, it was a disaster. The second, third, Radin struggled. He absolutely struggled when he was in the game. It's not a good look, because if Trevor Penning is actually hurt, they need some backup offensive linemen. Who do you count on? Will Clapp's going to be out for probably the year with his injury. So, yeah, it wasn't pretty. 61 yards rushing, and I think half of it came from Spencer Rattler. When you have 20, 21, 22 yards from your running backs, because your offensive line is getting absolutely punched in the face, even if it's your backups who you need to see something from, it's not good. I really did not think it was that great for pretty much most of the offensive line.
For the wide receivers beyond Olave and Shaheed, is anyone separating in any way at this point?
I thought, just based on watching the game, I thought Cedric Wilson had a solid game, was able to create some separation on his routes, and was able to shake free and get open a few times for both quarterbacks. No, Bub Means left the game. We have video of him with crutches on and a boot, so that's not good for him.
No.
So that's one injury. Offensive line and receivers, Hunt, there's the two areas they cannot afford to have any kind of injuries. And here we are, one game in, you're dealing with two offensive linemen and a receiver. So they're going to have to figure it out in both those positions, especially receiver. You've got to give whomever the starting quarterback's going to be some type of weapons. And as of right now, it isn't really that pretty. It got to be out. Mason Tipton he's certainly stepping up. He's translating it from, training camp practices to the field. That's what they wanted to see last year. It was like the training camp superstar, and it didn't work out on the field. Feels like it's getting a little bit better this year for him. So you throw Mason Tipton in there in that mix, when it comes to guys who are kind of creating some form of separation.
Anything on defense that stood out to you?
It was tough, man. I thought Isaiah Stallbird did well. Fadil Diggs, Quincy Riley did all right to me. I think even Danny Stutzman had some flashes, and Christian Boyd had that nice pressure and was close to being a safety. But Hunt, you're getting destroyed by Trey Lance on the ground. We've seen that story year in and year out. No matter the coach, the Saints struggle to contain a guy who can run, who can move, who can break the pocket. And no, pretty much it was a struggle. It was a struggle, for a good part of that game when he was playing.
So let's talk about the week to come as they get ready for another game this weekend against Jacksonville. What's got to be worked on this week, and how do you expect them to handle the quarterbacks coming up this weekend?
I am interested to see if they let Spencer Rattler start with every single one and don't go as many series, and they let Shuck come back in and play with the ones too for a little bit. So he did say last week before the game that, he wasn't, 100% committed to switching the quarterbacks and starting Shuck this week. But man, if it goes, just kind of the way that the reps have been taken, it feels like he should get the start. But I thought the same thing with scrimmage last week on Friday. Rattler got to run with the one like he did the previous Sunday. So I'm interested to see if Tyler Shuck will actually get the start. He should. It feels like they game planned last week to let him do a little bit more. So my gut says that Shuck should go with the ones and maybe let Rattler have a series with the ones and then go from there. So that's one thing you got to look at. And then, the injuries. Are they going to actually be able to hold this joint practice with the Rams on Thursday without having to suffer some more injuries? That's another thing that you want to pay close attention to.
I'm curious when you think they're going to name a starting quarterback for the first game of the season opener.
It would have to be after this game. It feels like it's a game, unless both quarterbacks make it difficult or one guy separates himself. And let's just say both guys don't have the greatest of games, and they say, all right, well, I guess we need to see what happens with the final game. But my gut tells me it's going to be after this game. I feel like it's going to be after this game. I think they're going to want to set up Tyler Shuck to have a good game with the ones and see where he goes from there. If it's a good game and they say, wow, this is why we drafted him 40th overall, he's separating from Rattler a little bit, we're going to go with Tyler. Because we talked about it in the press box, a bunch of us, the other day during the game. If they're both kind of the same, just go with Tyler Shuck because you drafted him in the second round. He's a second-round pick. You spent the 40th overall pick on him, so just go with Shuck. So I would lean with the whole Tyler Shuck situation and let him be the quarterback. So I would say my gut tells me after this game.
We'll see. Should be very, very interesting. You be in the Dome?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk about it next week.
All right, Hunt.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans with us talking Saints every week. I'm interested to see when they make the determination. It doesn't matter that much. Like, I think both guys are going to continue to get some reps, and I'm not that concerned with the guy being 100% ready to go, if that's even a thing, for the first game of the season. I want them to make the determination based on who they think gives the future the best opportunity. And if they haven't figured that out today, then you don't need to make a call. If you figured it out on Sunday, make that call. If you don't, you need to see another preseason game and you want to put those guys out there for another 3 quarters, that's fine with me. Like, I'm not in a hurry. I want the decision to be the right one. So we'll see how that materializes for the Black and Gold coming up this weekend against Jacksonville. All right, we'll come back and close it out. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety, big deal in the bathroom, especially as folks age. If there's someone in your life that's aging that you think may be into a hazardous situation in the bathroom, you can't eliminate that risk, but you can mitigate against it with non-slip floors and handrails and slippery areas and walk-in tubs that are more convenient and safer and showers with benches in them and those types of things that could make a big difference. If that's ringing a bell to you and you go, that seems like something I probably need to do, just contact David. Go to onebathandclosets.com, set up the free consultation, have David come talk to you. He'll let you know what they can do, give you some pricing on it. If you're thinking, well, we can maybe make that work, is there financing? There is. 18 months, 0%, same as cash, if you qualify. Check out pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com. See the picture, the reviews from their satisfied customers, and get that consultation today. It's David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You gotta believe, dream, believe, you gotta believe, dream, believe, you gotta believe, whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Wrapping things up here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. If you are looking for that hunting property, if you are looking for just some real estate outside the city to have some space to build a home, build a secondary home, do some agriculture, whatever the case may be, Trustee Properties, Daryl May, licensed realtor, Louisiana, Mississippi, can make that happen for you. Feliciana's, Point Capee, up into St. Francisville, into Woodville, up to Natchez, anywhere in the state of Mississippi. If you're looking for 30 acres, that's great. Looking for 300 acres, that's great. He can make that happen for you. So if you're looking to buy or sell property, Daryl May, Trustee Properties, is a name you can trust. All right, time to close things out. We'll take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. If you're headed to the pool, headed to the lake, headed to the golf course, on the grill, it's hot outside, you're looking for a light beer, and certainly tailgating just around the corner, Flight by Yingling was made for these hot Louisiana summers. So next time you're going to pick up some light beers, whether that's tonight, Friday afternoon, or headed out to the pool on Saturday, Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, on first one, the Brewers have won 9 in a row.
Don't remind me.
They get Paul Skeens tonight. Skeens snaps the streak. Take it or leave it.
Gotta take it. I have to take it.
I'll take it.
I have no choice. This is the deal, and I've talked about this at length. The Brewers are the greatest scandal in baseball since steroids. They are flagrantly cheating at every turn. They win every game. They've won like 26 out of 30, which is impossible in Major League Baseball. The Cubs had a 5-game lead in the division. They're now down 6.5, and they haven't even played that bad because the Brewers win every game. And no one driving around in this city can name a single Brewer. It's cheating. They're flagrantly cheating. So the only chance I have is for the best pitcher in the league, Paul Skeens, to shut them down. That has to happen tonight. My hope is that he breaks their spirit and they lose the next 5 in a row. Unfortunately, I don't have confidence in that because I check my phone at about 9 o'clock every night, and every single night the Brewers are winning. It's disgraceful to watch. Have I made my point clear?
Yeah, no, I got it. Brewers are cheaters.
Good.
Got it loud and clear. John Mateer said his Venmos that were labeled sports gambling from a few years back. Get this, Hunt, they're actually not sports gambling. He said they are inside jokes between his friends. Take it or leave it.
I'm torn on this. I'm going to leave it.
Just leave it alone.
I think he probably did gamble with his friends. But I can see a deal where you would Venmo for part of your dinner and then title it sports gambling because you're just being a jack around. Like, I've mislabeled Venmo things incorrectly as a joke for other people to see many times. But sports gambling is a weird thing to put as a joke. Like, if you were going to write, like, for your dad's vasectomy or something, like, that would be a joke. But sports gambling's not a funny joke. So I think that he probably did gamble. If he's just sending it via Venmo and it's not something he did on FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever, like, it's not going to be traceable anyway. So what I have definitely settled on here is that Mateer is not going to get in trouble for this. I think there's a decent chance he did gamble with his buddies and send them $20 or whatever the case may be.
All right, last one. Kalen DeBoer has found his QB1. Ty Simpson will take the first snaps against Florida State. The Crimson Tide have found their next national championship quarterback. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that with DeBoer and Ty Simpson. The buzz in Atlanta was that they feel like Keelan Russell is going to take that job. 5-star freshman, way better athlete. Simpson, there's just not a lot to get excited about with Simpson. He's not a great athlete. He hasn't, he wasn't a prolific recruit. He just doesn't fit the mold of like the next Alabama star. There was a time where Saban could win championships with Jake Coker and get things done that way. He could make the playoff with Blake Sims and do that. That time's kind of done. You need a difference maker at quarterback. It just seems unlikely to me that Ty Simpson is a big-time difference maker. I think the better question is who's their quarterback when they play LSU. You got a thought on that? November 4th or whatever it is, 5th, 3rd, 8th, whatever?
If it's not Russell, I might just stick with Ty Simpson. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. I think Alabama's got a good team, a good roster. I don't think they're great at quarterback right now, and that's a big problem. That could lead to losses. And if they can find a way to trip up a couple times and they can have 3 losses by the time they get to the Iron Bowl, I just want the pulse on Tuscaloosa because this was the easiest thing to see coming ever. That the guy that followed Saban was not going to immediately pick up the mantle and just run sprints. So we'll see. That's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Tuesday. Again, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. If you missed any of today's show, I invite you to catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. You can find full editions of our show, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, certainly on YouTube as well. I gave my practice report from LSU at 1 o'clock today. Talked a lot about the defense and why I liked them on all 3 levels today. We talked Saints offensive line at 1:15. You can hear that at Hunt on Saints. Glenn West go 24/7 with us with his thoughts from practice as well. We met the freshmen at the end of hour number 1. J.D. LaFleur, C.J. Jim Coyley, 2 of the most physically imposing freshmen in this class. Ranked LSU schedule from 1 to 12. You can go find that at Hunt on LSU as well. That's it for us. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show right here on 104.5 ESPN.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's America's best warranty. I tell you about this every single day. I mean, how does this sound to you? 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. You get a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty, bumper to bumper. That is industry leading. I tell you all the time about their 24/7 roadside assistance, 5 years, unlimited miles. That comes with it. I tell you all the time about their complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years, 36,000 miles. That means if you're under that warranty, you come in, that maintenance is complimentary. Not only is it complimentary, it's valet complimentary. So they will come get your car, bring it to the dealership, do that work that nobody wants to sit through, and bring the car right back. And in the meantime, they will give you a loaner for it. Go by and see them, Airline at PQ. Can't miss them across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and always you can find the inventory online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.